Um, oh, oh, we're recording. Okay. All right. Well, we wanted to just hop on tonight and chat with you ladies. We're going to all kind of tag team and just talk with you guys about value on your pages and coming from a place of not necessarily wanting to sell to people, but coming from a place of what do I have to offer. So I know Ashley has been doing a really awesome training, and I'm really excited to hear from her, like all the things that she's been learning through the Boss, what's it called? Social Selling Academy.
Social Selling Academy.
So she's going to share a little bit with you guys about that, and then I'm sure Jenna is going to share as well. But basically, you guys, like when you are thinking about your content that you are producing on your page, I've been trying to think about it in coming from a place of being a former teacher. Like you want people, like just like when I was teaching, every week I knew what was in my lesson plans. If I walked into my classroom on Monday morning without any plan for the day, number one, I would be doing a huge disservice to my students. But two, like I would risk someone walking in from administration and totally being like in the hot seat, not knowing, like I wouldn't have anything planned to do and my day would be a complete disaster. And I know my kids would not benefit as well if I didn't have a plan. And so you have to go into your week with some ideas of content that you want to share. So it takes, I feel like, a lot of reflecting. And it takes that time of planning ahead your content, your value that you want to share on your page. Okay. Whether you think you have value or not, you do. It just takes you sitting down and thinking about, okay, what's part of my journey that I can share with someone else, whether it's a recipe, whether it's something that's motivational. Like tonight, I'm actually going to post about um, some things that I've been learning from an Audible book that I'm reading called Get Out of Your Head. And it's just like a couple quotes that I'm sharing from the book. And that's value, right? Like that can inspire someone, and that's bringing like a new concept, a new idea, new inspiration to your page. So that in itself is a valuable post. But it took some time for me to put some thought behind it to create and craft that post so that when it goes out, hopefully, it'll inspire someone, um and those connections can start growing from there. So your content and your value is always going to come from the journey that you're on through Beachbody, whether it's your personal development, right, which we're supposed to be doing every single day, your personal development, your activity level, your workouts, like what you're learning through your own journey, like, and that's so many different levels, right? Like what you're learning mentally, what you're accomplishing physically, all the things that you're adding to your kitchen, your recipes, like all of those things. That is all so many different layers of your journey that you take when you start a new program, when you start a nutrition plan, like all of that stuff. So you really have to reflect on what you're learning to bring that valuable content to your page. And it's almost like you're teaching people what you're doing and the habits that you are may or may not be easy for you. You're teaching people how to do that just by showing up on your page. Just by showing them, I'm getting my workout every day. I'm learning that I'm pushing myself even though it was hard today. I listened to my trainer and this is what she said, and it really made me think, like you're sharing that and you're showing up, and you're inspiring people through the value of basically just showing up on your page and sharing your journey. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, tell you guys to approach it in that way of thinking about like what, Because sometimes I get in my head a lot. That's why I'm listening to the Audible, get out of your head. But I get in my head a lot of thinking like, what do I need to share today? And then I go scroll and I see all these other, I'm like, what is she sharing? What am I supposed to be sharing on a Monday? Like, oh, Monday's supposed to be Monday motivation, and it's like you don't need to have a set thing, and you don't need to like copy someone else. You just need to share literally what you're experiencing, because what you're experiencing on your journey is of value to someone else. Most of the people out there who are watching your journey as a coach, you guys, they don't have half of the discipline, half of the motivation, half of the good habits that you have. And so anything that you're putting out there makes you an expert above most of the people that are watching you. And whether you think like, oh, people know this or don't know this or not, whatever you think in your head, like it will help someone out there. So you have to just relate, what you're going through to sharing it in a valuable like lesson on your page, kind of, um, and making people want to come back for more, whether it's sharing a recipe and saying like, stay tuned, I'm going to be sharing my meal prep tomorrow, or maybe you're doing a series of like this one girl, she does like rice cakes, and it's like she has um different flavors of rice cakes, and she does like different reels all the time, and I'm always like, I wonder what her next one's going to be. So it's just like keeping people coming back, with small little tidbits of value here and there. So hopefully that helps.
I love that. And I would add that, remember, you guys, your value can be outside of health and fitness. So don't feel like you have to be stuck inside of providing only meal plans, only recipes, only those things. Like, we are people outside of what we do here. Yes, we lead healthy lifestyles, but we are also someone outside of this. So just like Joy, we've all been in our heads so many times about like, what the heck do we post and share? So I want to encourage you guys to sit down and brainstorm, what are things about you that you want to share with others. And for me, I know I want a tribe of moms. I want a tribe of mamas. Like, those are my people. And there are people outside of moms that are also my people, but like, that is like my main area of target. So the things that I share on my page, I really want to be centered around moms. I want to attract moms to my page. So I'm not an expert in being a mom, and I'm not an expert in things about being a mom, but value that I bring to my page is toddler meal ideas. I haven't done this yet, but I want to. Toddler activities, things that I can do with my daughter. You guys, I don't do activities with my daughter every single day. We literally just have free playtime every day. But being someone who's going to be that person on social media that I'm going to commit to sharing toddler ideas, I'm going to get out of my own comfort zone and I'm going to go experience new things with my daughter. So it's not something I'm used to doing every single day, but it's something that I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to step out of my own comfort zone, and I'm just going to share what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not an expert in it. I'm not an expert in toddler meals, or feeding kids. This is my first time ever feeding a toddler. But I'm just sharing what I'm doing, and it's helping other people who also are like me and who are like, I have no idea what to feed my kid. Like, what should I be feeding them? Can come to my page and they can see those things. I give budgeting tips on how to create a budget for your family. So those are things that you can provide value outside of your health and fitness. So I don't know if Jenna or Joy, you have anything else you want to add, but I definitely have some more that I can share.
Um, yeah, and to go along with that, like the things that, uh, the couple examples that Ashley just gave, those are going to be the things that people are going to be in your inbox. And you guys, that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make those connections with your viewers. They already know you are probably a coach. You're working out, you're showing your sweaty selfie, you're showing that you got your workout in, you're showing that you're on Zoom. What other value can you provide that you might be able to connect with that person? And it's hard to think about sometimes. Like, it really is. It's like, okay, what else can Jenna offer? What else can Jenna share that some other person out there that's watching my Instagram is going to laugh or think, yeah, me too, or wow, I love doing that too, or wow, I would love a toddler activity, and would be in your inbox to make that connection and have that easy conversation, and right then and there, without even having to start that yourself. So if that kind of makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. And what I'm learning through this Social Selling Academy. So for those of you guys who don't know, I purchased this academy. It was $1,000 that I'm paying for, and I am getting all this training on social selling, so selling on social media. And so my goal is to share all my tips with you guys, everything I learned, because it is really, really good information, and everything that I am learning all centers around the value you bring to your page. Beachbody is not going to suck people into your page and make a connection with you. Nobody cares that you are doing that. They care about who you are, and they want to find those ways to connect with you. And when they can connect with you on all those different topics, all the other parts and qualities about you, when they can connect with you on that level, then they're going to, and then when they see that you offer a boot camp, when you do it every once in a while, when you make that offer in your stories, they're going to be intrigued by that. They're going to say, wow, I love everything else about you. What is that you're doing? And they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you questions about it, because your primary focus is your value. And what I have learned, and what my coach has said, is that it should be an 80-20 split. You should be providing 80% value and 20% whatever it is that you're selling. So for us, boot camps, coaching, all of that stuff gets mixed into that 20%. So think of, you need to come up with 80% other things than Beachbody, other things than boot camps and workouts and meals. 80% of your page should be about you and what value you can bring. And that's what's going to get people to relate to you. And then once they're hooked on that and you have that relationship with people, they're going to be intrigued by what it is that you're doing. We've probably heard this before, like you should have such a strong relationship that they will buy anything from you because they love you so much, they follow you so much, they love what you share, that they will buy literally anything from you, right? Like I just posted on my Facebook page the other day, and I don't know if any of you guys ordered any of it, but I posted about the makeup that I use, and I have 18 girls who ordered, and the girl's like, are you sure you don't want to sell makeup? And I'm like, nope, I don't want to sell makeup, but people follow me, and if I say I'm using this makeup, they want to buy it. If I say I'm doing these workouts, they want to do it, right? So we have to bring that value, and it takes some time to find what that value is. But the one thing that I really want you guys to keep in mind is that the number of likes and the number of comments and the number of shares on your post has nothing to do with the value you are providing. Okay. And this was a huge gut check for me, from what I was learning yesterday and today, is that do not judge your content and your value based on the likes and comments. It just means that, remember, there's secret followers, people that are secretly watching you, that don't engage, they don't like, they don't comment, but they come out of the woodworks later down the line, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, they're going to come out and they're going to say, I've been following you for so long. And you're going to be like, what? I've literally never seen you before. I have no idea where you came from, but they've been following you this whole journey. So I wanted to show you guys, bring out my whiteboard, maybe teach a little lesson here. Okay, so I learned this from one of my trainings, and it is, let me make sure you guys can see it in the picture. Okay, so it's almost like an iceberg. Okay, and this under here is all the value that we have to provide. It's backwards, sorry. This is all the value that we have to provide, okay? This, just like, think of like the tip of the iceberg, right? Okay, we have this little tip of the iceberg. This up here, I'm sorry, it's backwards. This is what you can see, right? You put a post out there and this is what you can see. That's your likes and your comments and your shares, okay? That's what you can see up there. This down here, all of this is what you can't see. These are the people who are quietly watching. These are the people who come out of the woodworks the more you share, and the more consistent you are. Just like Jenna said, it's that consistency of showing up. And I think Joy said too, like just you showing up every day in your stories, that is the best value you can give. showing up every day. That is the best value that you can give on your page, just showing up. It's that easy, right? And the more you share, the more consistent you get, right? Something happens. This, getting my other colors, this goes down here. And now you start to see more likes, more comments, more engagement. But in the beginning, that line is up there because you're just starting. Okay, you can even be 3 years into this business like I am, and you are still just starting. You're just at the tip of the iceberg, right? I still have so much more value to share and to put out there. And it's going to take time for people to feel comfortable and to build that relationship with people through my stories, to move that line down, to get more of my iceberg out. Okay, it's going to take time for that. So like I said, showing up consistently is the best value that you can give. So show up every single day in your stories. Post almost every single day. Get your face out there as much as you can, sharing that value. And you guys, that includes the value that you share on your face or on your Instagram page, your posts. Don't make every post motivation. Right? Yes, you have motivation to share. That's great. But share those things about you. Like we said, that value. Make a post on how to create a budget. Make a post on toddler food. Those are things that people are going to want to save to come back to for later. That's the content that's going to bring people in. And that's the content that's going to captivate people. So that should be the stuff that we're sharing on our page, because that gives us that well-rounded picture of who we are. And then sprinkling in the things about health and fitness and the motivation and all that little stuff, right? I really want to be a motivation for other moms to know that they can do it and show up, but I don't want to post just a motivational quote every single day. They need to know who I am as a mom to build that connection, because otherwise, why wouldn't they just go sign up with another mom, another Beachbody mom, right? So I got to bring my value outside of just being a mom and outside of Beachbody. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys was I was a math teacher. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm a very graphic person and I like to see things in graphics. So one more chart that I wanted to share with you that really was kind of mind blowing when my coach went through it is, and again, I'm sorry, it's backwards. So this up here is going to be your results. The results that you see, it could be your income. Okay, so the money you bring in. And then over here is the time that goes by. Okay, so how long you've been coaching, how long you've been showing up, your time. But it can also, she said, be the number of posts that you share. So if you're not sharing very many posts, even though time is going by, if you're only sharing on your page once a week, that's going to shorten your time, right? It's like you're not really showing up every day. So this is the time that you're showing up and the number of posts that you're sharing. And then this is our expectation. We expect that the more that we show up, the number of time, the amount of time that goes up, the amount of posts that we share, we expect our results to be at this steady incline, right? And whether or not we think that consciously, it's something that is subconsciously happening. That is our expectation. If I can spell. I was not a spelling teacher. So that's our expectation, okay? Then we have this. Sorry if you guys can see that. That's how it actually happens. Okay, that's how it actually happens. It is this exponential growth. In case you didn't know that math term, it means it starts out slow and then it grows very rapidly at the end. Okay, this is how it actually happens. And there are two very specific parts of the graph that I want to point out to you guys. Number one is this point down here, from when you start to about right here, about right before the graph takes off exponentially. Okay, so we have this little period of time where, I'm going to color it in right down here. That's where we say it's not working. What I'm doing is not working. My posts aren't working. I'm not getting a lot of likes. I'm not getting people to sign up. It is not working. Things are not working. This isn't for me. Why aren't people coming to me? Why aren't things coming my way? Why am I not bringing in income? Why am I not hitting Success Club? It's not working for me. And they take that as their sign to leave and to quit, because this is where they're at, right? And we've all heard that saying that you quit right before you get to the top of the mountain, right? You're pushing that boulder up, 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 and you are almost to the top, and then you quit, and you end up quitting right here, right before that exponential growth takes off. You slow down on your posting because you feel like it's not working. You feel like you're not getting the engagement you want or expect. And again, that comes from, that's our expectation. We expect that to be happening, right? So this is from another person. I forget, I didn't write down the person's name, but this is an actual model that somebody else came up with, not my coach, but he called this in here, the river of misery, because we expect ourselves to be up here when in reality we're down here, and we think we should be up here. We think we should be getting that income. We think we should be getting those results. And this even applies to your weight loss journey, you guys, right? It takes time in the beginning to get going. And sometimes we have those quick results. We're losing 2 pounds at a time, but it takes time for you to build those habits, like Joy said. And once you start collectively putting those habits together, drinking more water, showing up in your workouts consistently, getting 10,000 steps a day, keeping your body moving throughout the day, and getting veggies most, drinking water all the time, then when you put all those habits together, your weight loss takes off. It's the same thing with our business, right? The more we post, the more consistently we show up, that's when this is going to happen. And right here, again, is where people quit because they feel like it's not working for them. So showing up, like I said before, is the most important thing. It is the best value you can give because, again, all the people are watching you right here. They're watching and seeing if you're going to keep showing up. They're those, from that other graph, they're those silent watchers. They're those people that are watching behind the scenes, not liking and engaging in your comment, right? You are posting, you're expecting all these people to like your post, and they're not. It's because they're silent watchers. I was a silent watcher in the beginning. I never liked or commented. I did not engage. I did not post. I did not like anything on Facebook. When I first started coaching, I literally was one of those creepers who just scrolled to see what other people were doing, and I didn't share any of my own stuff. I didn't like anybody's things. I didn't want my name popping up in someone's messages or in someone's notifications. I didn't want that, and I don't know why. I just didn't. So there's tons of other people out there like that, okay? But it takes time, and you have to get to this point where your business is going to actually take off. And you just have to make it to that point. And it takes time and consistency and showing up every single day. And the last thing I wanted to just mention really quick was, had a couple other key takeaways from my coach was that she said, how you attract, and Joy mentioned this at the beginning too, we don't want to be selling people on this, right? We don't want to be out there trying to sell. We want to share, or we want to serve others. And I actually like that word serving others more than sharing, because yes, we can share what we're doing, but how is that serving someone else? So sharing that value that we talked about is serving others. You are helping others for free, giving information, giving tips, giving inspiration, giving other things. So you are serving. And the more you try to convince someone, if you convince someone to sign up with you, right? You feel like, have you ever had those conversations where people, you're talking to them and they keep coming up with an excuse? Oh, I just don't have time. And you say, oh, well, you know, I totally get it. I'm so busy. Like, we can make this work for you. You're trying so hard to overcome those objections. And you're selling them. And when you sell them, you end up convincing them. And sometimes they even sign up just because they don't want you to keep asking them. And when those people sign up, the people you convinced to sign up, they end up being the people you try to convince to stick around. How many of you have had a client where you try every single month to get them to post in your boot camp? You try to get them to show up. You try to get them to work out. You try to get them to drink the shakes. You try to get them to reorder, to stay in your boot camps. Okay, that's because of how you brought them in. They didn't feel very good about it. They felt icky. They didn't want that selling feeling. And so they felt icky about our boot camp. They felt icky about our coaching. Okay, but the more you serve them in the beginning and share all the things that are working for you and serve them with your value, they're going to feel like they're going to be served in your boot camp, and they're going to feel like they get the value from you because they see that up front. But if they are sold up front, they will feel icky and they don't like that feeling, and you will have to keep selling them to keep them. So the more we can serve up front, it's going to be easier. We're going to have longer retention of customers. We're going to have happier customers. We're going to actually be fulfilling them. We're going to be giving them that value so that they want to stick around, because why wouldn't they? Look at all of us sticking around. We love this. We love these workouts. We love this nutrition. It's easy. It's manageable. We love the shakes. We love our Energize. We love our Bevy, right? We love it. So we don't need to convince somebody of it. We just need to serve them. And then they're going to ask about what we do. And then when we help them with it and they try it for themselves, they're going to convince themselves that they love it. Because if we love it, they're going to love it, right? Because again, if I post about makeup, everybody's going to come buy the makeup because they're they're served with all the other things. So of course, if I share something else I love, they're going to want to love it too. They're going to tell themselves they love it too. So if they love all the value that I'm sharing and I talk about my boot camp, and I offer them my boot camp in my stories, they're going to be excited about that. I'm not going to have to convince them. They're going to already have convinced themselves. Oh, I love everything else about Ashley, so I'm going to love her boot camp, right? It just makes sense. Yeah.
In your training, does she talk a lot about how being relatable is also being vulnerable and like sharing parts of yourself, like in your stories and in your posts, where the value that you're bringing is kind of like your vulnerability, like part of, like for us, part of our stories in our health and fitness, or like what we're learning in our PD, or just little parts of our life that maybe most women don't want to share, like struggling with, you know, certain things as a mom or whatever. Like, does she talk about that? Like,
yes. So definitely still sharing your story, sharing your journey. Obviously, that's us showing up every single day. But the one thing she says, and she always has these like little quotes that stick out to me, and I'm going to share all of them with you guys. She always says, share your scars, not your scabs. Don't share the bloody mess that's going on right now in your life because you don't have an answer to it. You don't have the outcome yet. You haven't made your way through it, right? But you've made it through your scars. You have these scars, these battle wounds. You've made it through, and you can help inspire others how to get through that. And when you're sharing those things that you've already been through, for example, how you felt before you started your health and fitness journey, right? How did you feel? I felt disgusting. I felt like my husband wouldn't love me anymore. I asked him every day if I was getting too big. Like there were all these things and emotions that were happening before, but I've made it through that now. And you don't have to be all the way at the other end of your fitness journey to talk about the beginning, but you've made it through some of those things and some of those feelings. So those are sharing scars. You don't want to share the scabs. And you can be vulnerable about if you have a little bit of anxiety or like, you know, a little bit of things that are going on, but you don't want your whole page to be about how of an anxious mess you are and you don't have a solution for it. You're just like, I'm here being anxious and all this stuff that's going on. They're not going to find any value in that because they don't know how you're getting through it, right? We want to take them through our journey, but we want to teach them how we've gone through it. So we want to share our scars, not our scabs. So not the things that we're currently going through that are bloody and gory. We want to share the things we've already been through, right? We want to share the problem, share what we did to fix it, how we got through, paint a picture of how we can help them get through, and share that resolution with them and how you are today because of that. So yeah, that is absolutely something we definitely want to be sharing, is that part of our story as well. Good question. I don't know if that was like way too much to throw at you guys, or if you have any questions about it, or yes, she does have an Instagram. Let me grab it. I can copy the link and send it to you. I don't always remember the name of it. And honestly, I don't really follow her on Instagram. Her ad popped up for me. Like she had an ad that popped up and it was intriguing. So her Instagram is Becoming Boss. Her name is Kristen Boss. So there's the link in the Zoom chat if you guys want to click it and follow her. I'm not 100% sure the content she shares on her page because I don't really follow her as much. But any sort of trainings that you guys can come across. Now, I would just be careful because there are some that, and I was weary of signing up for a training because I'm always fearful that, and I've done a bunch of these where they say they're going to provide you with something and it almost is like a walk around. Like they don't actually help you with what it is they say they're going to help you with. Like you have to put the puzzle pieces together from the information they give. So it's basically like a whole lot of nothing that they give. So if you're unsure about a training or something, you can ask your coach because we can take a look into it and see if anybody else has done it or gone through it. But there's trainings for $7, for $5, for $50, for $100. There's trainings all over the place that you guys can get, but I would definitely, I'm going to share everything that I know with you guys from this training because it is so valuable. There's so much good in how to share and what to share. That it's just been really, really helpful for my business. And I'm going to be talking on the Fearlessly Fit Coach family team call next week. So right before our team call at 6 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be talking all about some thought models, which it'll make a little bit more sense, but some thoughts that run through our heads as coaches and how we can change those to really produce results. And what I'm going to be talking about is exactly what I did the first week of January, and I hit Success Club without a single call to action, without a single invite. So I'm going to share that next week. And that's what I've been implementing and learning in my trainings. So that one will be really, really helpful too, I think. So if you guys can make that, that would be cool. And I can see some familiar faces. But do you guys have any questions on value? Or I would love to see too, if you guys want really quick to throw, like if you have any ideas of value that you can give on your page, to put them in the chat, because sometimes we need to bounce ideas off of each other and to be like, oh yeah, like I do that too. Like sometimes we just don't think of the things that we do every day that could be valuable to someone else. Like something as simple as toddler meals. I feed my daughter whatever I eat, but I have recently started putting her food on her own plate, and it's a little cute toddler plate, one of those colorful ones, and I just plate it a little bit nicer than just a big mush on her plate from my plate. And that's my toddler food, and that's what I can share. So just that one little extra step of something I was already doing to make it look a little bit nicer and talk about it in a different way on my page is hopefully going to be some value that I can bring to some of the moms that follow me. Yes, Tasha, we all struggle with content sometimes. All of us, even me. Yeah, I like that. That's a good prompt that Gwen said, 5 things that make you you other than Beachbody. And don't just think Beachbody bootcamp, think of outside of food, nutrition, meal plans, drinking water, like totally outside the health and fitness world. What makes you you? Unless Joy, you're like Joy, and she is a nutritionist, like she loves that, right? So she's going to obviously bring a little bit more of that value because she has that certification. She has that's her passion, and you can tell from her page. So unless you're like that and you're a huge foodie and you love food like Joy, and you're going to bring all that value, then you can have some of that stuff. But I know that we all aren't as amazing with food as Joy, even though we wish we were. So what outside of, yes, Joy, hubby quirks. Okay, if you know anything about Joy or follow Joy, her husband, they are just the cutest little things. They have the little quirkiest things, spangerangs on the way to church. They just
I was thinking about incorporating them more, like doing like relationship tip, not like tips, but just like incorporating more of like marriage stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Funny things that Jay says, because he says funny things all the time.
Yes.
And sometimes we need outside help. We're like, sometimes I come to Joy or Jenna and I'm like, tell me what I'm good at. Like, tell me something about my life that I just can't see because I'm in it. Sometimes you need an outside perspective to say, hey, you're really good at this and you should share more of this. And that really is helpful too. So your coach can do that. If you know somebody else on the team that you want to ask for advice from, somebody else can give you like an outside perspective of what they would want to see more of.
I feel like I've heard that so much today, my accent. Gwendolyn.
It sounds very
Ma-
prominent today, I think.
Makeup wannabe is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Or like, a lot of people like for me, I like accounts of people who show like cheap finds, like cheap clothing.
Mhm.
Like not I like the boutiques and stuff too, but I like cheap Amazon finds, like stuff like that. Like if you're into that, um that's also another idea that you can share just to get like connections and showing people like, hey, I got this here. Like I get a lot of my clothes from Walmart and I try to share, every now and then in my stories, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, see what you guys are drawn to on Instagram. Like, what accounts do you get excited to see? Or like what things that other people share on social media gets you excited? And then think to yourself, like, okay, is that something that I can do? Because there are definitely, I see accounts all the time that are sharing discount clothing or just clothing in general, but thinking to yourself, okay, how can I put my own twist on it? Because maybe you don't have the swipe up feature yet. And you can't do that, but how can you put those links? You can put them in your link tree in your bio and create a whole tab on it. You can put them in, and it could be, and I was actually talking to Emily about this the other day. You guys, your link tree doesn't have to be fancy. You can literally link a Google Doc with a bunch of links to your favorite outfits. It doesn't have to be a website. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a Google Doc with a bunch of links. So that way, when they click on like outfit inspiration or favorite outfits and they click on it, it takes them to a Google Doc where you have all your things linked. You don't have to go out and create a crazy website, but think how you can just get started with sharing value. Okay, it can be super simple and easy, and then you can work on making it look nicer and feel nicer down the line, but just start with something now. Don't wait until you make it perfect to share. Just start doing something now, because the more you get people used to going to your link in your bio or to checking out your highlights for clothing that you saved or makeup that you saved, to your highlights in your stories, get people used to going there, and you can always make them look nicer down the line. You can make them fancier as you go, but just doing something now is going to be better than doing nothing.
Question for you, Ashley.
Yeah.
When you showed the graph of the value thing, like does she say in her training that like at what point do you not look at the likes and the comments to know like what value is most valuable? Like, because like we've heard to look at our insights and see which posts are doing the best and what you need to share more of. So like at what point when that like iceberg tip like moves down, at what point do you know when to
So
change up your value?
So it has a lot to do with the people that are following you. And I know in the past years, I've done a lot of giveaways. We've done giveaways to get more followers, or done those apps a couple years ago to get more followers. And those were almost just like junk followers. So we have a lot of almost junk followers that are following us just because we want that number to be bigger. But Instagram is no longer a numbers game, it is a relationship game. So it does not matter if you have the swipe up feature, it does not matter if you have 10,000 followers, it doesn't even matter if you have 1,000 followers. What matters is that you have relationships with those people, because Emily, I don't know how many followers you have, I'm just calling on you, but if Emily has 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers and I have 7,000, she might get 200 likes on her post because she has good quality people following her. I might only get 100 because I have a bunch of junk people following me. So it's more about the people that are liking it and engaging with it and finding your people and building connections with your people than it is the number of likes on your content. And she says the value you bring to your page, like, that's valuable, right? You find value in that, and that's the value that you want to share. We don't want to target and change what we are doing because of what somebody else says or because of what somebody else thinks, right? Like, Joy, I would never want you to go change that you're sharing food recipes because the people on your page don't like it. Okay, well, those are just not your people. You need to find the people that want that value, because there are people out there that want it. And so it's not about how many people like it. And I think that it can tell you a lot. So for example, if your following isn't changing, so let's say over the course of the week, you don't grow at all, look at the posts that you've shared. Which one did the best? Which one didn't do well at all? And then say to yourself, okay, well, my current followers, they like this content more than this one. But if you're growing and you're changing and you're building relationships while you're posting, it's going to fluctuate all over the place until you find those people that are attracted to what you're sharing. But she says that the value that you choose to share, we shouldn't judge that based on what other people like. It should be the value that we want to share. And it'll just take time to find the people who want that value and appreciate that value and are connected to that value, if that makes sense. And I don't know about hashtags. I have not gotten super far in the training, but I feel like that's a lot of knowledge right there that I just shared. And that's not even a tip of what I have learned so far from her. But we have not gotten to hashtags yet. So I'm still putting hashtags in my posts just because I'm hoping it works, but I don't know for sure what she says about it yet. Let's see. So Emily said, I've heard you shouldn't use all 30 hashtags, but that makes me nervous. So I heard from another social seller who's not like licensed in anything, but we're all just trying to figure out Instagram, like what works, right? And she says to use about roughly 5 hashtags in your stories and use all 30 on your posts. I definitely don't use 30. I have never just had time to sit down and like sift through like what 30 I actually relate to or really like. So I would encourage you to use some hashtags, but I was going to share one more thing and now I can't remember. Oh, she said your stories are not going to be the thing that make you grow. Your stories don't grow your following. Your posts and your content is what grows your following organically by the content you share in your posts, because those are shareable. People can share those, they can save them. That's going to make your page grow with more followers. Your stories are there to build a relationship with your current followers. The people who are currently following you, that's who's watching your story. So don't expect to hashtag in your stories a bunch and get a bunch of followers from it. You might get 1 or 2 here or there, but the purpose of stories is to grow your relationship with your current followers. So that was something that I always keep in the back of my head. And which is why I try to gear my stories a little bit more towards my followers to keep them engaged. But my posts can be a little bit more of what I specifically want because those are the people that I'm targeting. How do you find your followers? So there's different ways to find followers. One way is by searching hashtags, going to your favorite blogger on social media and going to the people who like and engage with their content. Because if they're liking and engaging with their content, that's good because that means they might engage with yours. And I would go look through some of the people who are liking and commenting on a page that you also like. That's like a bigger account. And I would go follow some of those people, but only follow the people that look like you would be friends with them, that you would actually want to have a relationship with. So I look at their little picture and then I click on their profile and I just say, okay, is this a mom? Is this somebody with young kids or do they have older like teenagers? Because somebody who has younger kids is a little bit more my speed than somebody with teenagers or older kids. So that's pretty much how I do mine. But definitely I would focus on the people you already have and serving those people, because if you serve them, they're going to bring their friends and they're going to tell their friends to come follow you because they enjoy what they see. How many times have you sent an Instagram account to somebody else because you like what they share and somebody says, "Oh, I need some fashion tips," and you're like, "Oh, I got this person in mind," and you send that account to them. You want to be that account to your followers. So that's going to be, I think, one of the best, most authentic ways to grow. Anybody else have any other questions? I hope I didn't overwhelm anybody. And sorry, this went a little bit later. Any questions or anything to add?
I don't really have questions, but I just want to thank y'all for your time because I'm definitely gonna, if you record these, have to go back and watch it again and actually take notes.
Yes, we are definitely recording them, and I will post it in the team page as soon as I get the recording. I'm so glad it was helpful. I have to do that sometimes too, where I'm like, okay, I just need to, like, there were a lot of good things said. I need to go back and write some of those down. So I definitely get that. So that's awesome. And we'll all post this in our team pages either tonight. It sometimes takes a little bit for them to upload. So maybe in the morning it'll be posted. So okay, well, we will let you guys have your night back. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit longer of a team call. Hopefully you found some value in what value to share on your page. All right, I'll see you guys later.